Welcome to Crafted Sweetly. In this video, I will show you how to create a shaped card using Cricut Design Space images. These are some of the images you can use to create these shaped cards, and it's super easy to do once I show you this technique. They're great for kids, birthday parties. You can add a sentiment on the front. I just wanted to create and show you the technique. So I opened Design Space and found this image of a dog. Once you import it into Design Space, you can see the various layers. Also the size of it. I try and enlarge it to the size that I'll use as a card. So about 5 to 6 inches. I can create my own custom envelope for that if you don't have one. And you can check my other video on how to make an envelope. Once you make it to the size you want, you can see the various layers. You have to ungroup them and then choose the largest layer in the image. You want to bring it to the front, and this is the one we'll be duplicating. So you just need to go to duplicate, and this is the one we'll be using to create the tabbed insert for. I like to make the layer a little bit lighter in color. It's just easier to work with for me, but you can use whatever color you want. So you duplicate this, and this is where we'll be adding the tabs that we use to attach the card to. What I found as far as the best shape is a heart, because it's going to create two little tabs. Now as I'm looking at it like this, I can't quite tell where I'm at, so I changed the shape to a draw image instead of a cut. And then I keep modifying it until it gets to the right size. And I want the tip of the heart to touch, and also for it to be right in between the two ears. If it overlaps at all, then it's not going to open properly. So I just want to make sure that that tip touches the top of the head on the cat. Once you have the two layers like this, then you have to select both, and I can change this back to the black it was, either now or later, but I changed it to black. And then you select the two and weld them together. Again, these will become one image. It's got two little horns, but those are the two tabs we'll be using to create the layer so that we can attach it to the part that you're going to write your message on. So these are the three layers basically. Everything else stayed the same in the image. We just added an inset layer with the two tabs. Section I will show you how to add the score line, but you can certainly just use a bone folder to mark the score line afterwards. It depends on if you want to spend time in Cricut Design Space to add that and then have it automatically done, or you can just do it manually. To add the score, we're going to add a dashed line as a text, and this is the one we're transforming as a score line. So you can't add a shape that's a score. We're adding a line that will become a score. So I just type some dashes in, and we're moving it over to the image where we're going to score the outline of the head of the dog. So I'm moving the wrong one here. This is probably going to be too long, but use the curve feature, and you're going to move this, manipulate it until you get it to the shape you're basically connecting in between the two ears. So again, this is a little too long. Just shorten it, tweak it until you get it to the right shape. Once you have this, then you need to change that line to a score versus a cut line, because right now it's a cut. So this is where we're changing this to a score, and you can see that that's going to where your maker will mark it as a score. You do want to attach the two images, otherwise it'll be independent. So another image, for example, what do you do with this image? I got a hedgehog off Design Space. This would be a hard image to do a heart at the top of. So again, we're going to go through the same process of ungrouping the layers and then taking the largest layer. I like, again, to work with a lighter layer, easier to see. And now at the top of the image, you cannot put a heart down because it's going to not work properly and not open right. So you kind of need to find a flat area on the design. And in this particular, it's by the nose area. And that's where we're going to attach the heart to. So again, I'm using the heart because it creates two little tabs. You can use a rectangle with some designs. You can experiment with what shape works best. But with the heart, it's two tabs. So I'm going to change this again to a draw design so I can see where I'm placing the heart. And you can make it the right size, rotate it, whatever you need to do to make it work. Once you have everything positioned correctly, then you can select both images and you'll have to weld them again. You want the two tabs to become part of that layer. So there's the two little additional horns again. We just want to make sure that the two things become one. And you can change this one back to black so that it's the same image. And then the other one can remain a gray. You can use white, whatever you want. Now this is what the cat looks like. I won't go through that whole process again, but I duplicated this layer, and then you can see again the heart that I welded to the layer to create the two tabs. And then that's what we'll be using to attach to the one layer that we're actually doing the writing on. So these are the cards you will end up with. You can see the two little white tabs inside. If you end up with a black layer as far as the one you're writing on, you can use a little piece of white paper to attach so that you can write your inscription inside there, the message. Same thing with this. You can see the two little white tabs where we attached it, and you can add just a scrap piece of white paper that you can write your message to the recipient. Here's a snowman that I did. Same thing, two tabs, and it does stand up on its own. Now we have the layers for each of the cards, and you can see the tabs at the top for both images. We're going to take the two layers that have the backmost two layers. So the rest of the image we can set aside. And then this is the one we're going to work with in order to glue the tabs to the back layer. We need to score these first. I don't have a Cricut Maker, so I'm going to do this by hand. I'm using a bone folder to score the tabs so that it's easier to fold over. On a hard surface, it's hard to get a good score, so I'm going to use a foam pad just to give it a little cushion to score, and gently do the scoring a few times just to get a nice deep line, and then the cardstock will fold over much easier. You can see the folds, the score lines I should say, and then just fold them over and shape it. Once you have the tabs folded over, then we can glue this particular layer to the back layer, which is going to become the layer that you can write your message in. I'm using art glitter glue to glue the tabs down. I like this glue because it doesn't take much, and I do have links below for the supplies that I'm using. So just glue down this layer. Just make sure that everything is even so that it's not showing. And you can see that the card will open up. And then we can glue this layer to the back. Again, just make sure everything is lined up, especially at the top. And you can see as you open, there are the two little tabs that we use to attach. And then you can do your inscription on the white area. And there is the cat-shaped card. And we do the same thing with the dog. We need to mark the tabs and then fold them over and glue them. Once you've scored the tabs, fold them over. And you can use the bone folder to crease them well to make sure that they're flat. Same process, we're gluing the tabs to the back layer. And this is where the inscription will eventually go. Make sure the dog image is even, the two layers are not skewed. And then we're going to take this, which was already, the layers were already put together, and glue them to the card portion. Just press well to make sure everything is attached, and there is your card in the shape of the dog. I hope you enjoyed the video on how to make shaped cards. Please don't forget to subscribe below, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.